Recently, SAB, yes, they do still exist, certainly in South Africa. SAB announced it to be spending 2.8 billion rand in expansions at two of its breweries in Joburg and in Pretoria. The expansions include a new packaging line for returnable glass bottles at both breweries. It'll create up to 70 additional full-time jobs. And of course, the investment will create some jobs as well in the changing and the configurations and the building of the new infrastructure. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. Tonight we look at SAB's huge investment. In these days, it is huge in times of recession, with both SAB and AB InBev in Africa. Vice President for Supply, Trevor Sanderson, joining us this evening. 2.8 billion rand in a zero growth environment on the verge of a downgrade. I suppose if we're all driven to drink, it's good for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, Bruce. We're very confident in our business and our business model and in the category in South Africa. And to be honest, we're also confident about the prospects for South Africa. And hence the announcement yesterday of the $2.8 billion investment.
I mean, $2.8 or
2.8 billion rand.
Because you just careful what you commit to.
No,
we're going to hold it to you. We're going to hold you to it.
No, I'm so used to talking. We always talk about dollars when we invest across Africa. It's 2.8 billion rand.
Thank you. But still, how do you get a return on a bottle of beer? It's a lot of bottles of beer to recoup an investment of 2.8 billion rand.
No, well, we're very confident about the growth prospects. And we're very confident we'll make a very strong return on the investment. We would not have made the investment if we had any doubt.
But is it a 10-year return on investment? Is it a 15-year plan? I mean, how good is this investment in the world where technology moves at the pace of beer bottles on a bottling line?
Yeah. Well, firstly, the technology is the latest and the most advanced technology in the world. And there's a lot of flexibility in terms of the different products that we can make, the different SKUs.
You're going to have to translate that into English.
Yes,
so start on the technology and what it does differently to, I mean, in my mind, an old-fashioned bottling line is there's a big vat in which the beer is brewed. It comes out of the vat, goes down a pipe and into the bottle. A cap is put on it. The bottle gets put into a plastic packaging thing, because that's my era of big beer drinking, and put into a cardboard tray of 24, and off goes the beer. The new tech suggests that something is happening quite differently.
Well, firstly, just in terms of the flexibility that we build into our breweries, we can do various products. Products like normal clear beers, as you would be aware of, reds, flying fish, etc. So from a product range, we have quite a lot of flexibility. And then in terms of the packaging lines that we are putting in, we can do various size formats, which allows us to cater for changes in the market and for new innovations that we want to introduce into the market.
So, I mean, on the same production line, on the same day, you could be doing 750ml quarts, for example. You could be doing Black Label, Castle, and a short run of Lion if you wanted to. Yes. And then in the afternoon, be putting those into 340ml cans.
Absolutely. I mean, the flexibility of the lines is maybe not quite as dramatic as that. So generally, we have glass lines or returnable lines, and they can do various formats in that range. And then a canning line would be different. But essentially, we have a lot of flexibility, and it allows us to do a lot of changeovers and be quite flexible in terms of how we meet the needs.
I saw in my notes that you're building a new brew house, which is going to allow you to do 14 brews a day. Yeah. Now, explain to me what that means, because it sounds like an extraordinary production line. Would have made Henry Ford proud.
So effectively, this is in the Rosin Brewery. So we are putting in a brew house that can do a batch of 750 hectolitres, but we can do 14 batches in a day, which means that the cycle of the brew house is under 2.5 hours. So effectively, that 14 different batches can go through that brew house, and that means we can make about 10,000 hectolitres in that brew house on one day. And
that's an extraordinary amount of beer. I mean, that's an Olympic-sized swimming pool for a beer.
No, it is a lot of beer. Yeah, the breweries, Roslin and Alroad are two of our biggest breweries in Africa. So the volumes are pretty substantial.
And this is consumption then for the local market?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, now this is happening at the same time, of course, as Heineken came into the market and with big promises and all sorts of ideas. Yeah. They've got their brewery at Sedibeng.
That's correct.
Is this designed to crush?
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that, but what I will say is that from our perspective, we have aggressive plans to grow the category. And of course to grow our own volumes, but at the same time being cognizant of responsible consumption in the market. So we're quite bullish. with the brands that we have, both in SAB as well as with the portfolio
Are we going to
from
see?
AB InBev.
Are we going to see new AB InBev beers brewed here?
So what I will say is that we are planning to brew Stella Artois in the next few months in South Africa.
Will it be the same?
Absolutely. It will be the same, but I think the good thing...
You will be judged.
It will be the same. The good thing is that it'll be fresh.
But that's it. I mean, I remember Graham Mackay making the point about the freshness of beer. And if you do go to the world of beer, the beer that comes off, it comes out of the world of beer is different to the beer that you buy at the bottle store, which might have been brewed 2 weeks ago.
No, absolutely. You know, the fresher the beer, the better it tastes.
So Stella is coming into the market.
That's correct.
You're not going to brew Budweiser here, are you?
Look, I won't comment. I won't commit.
We don't
have
rice
right now.
We don't have rice production. You've got to import the rice unless you supplement the rice with something else. Is it?
Look, we're reviewing our options around that in the near term, and we will make further announcements about that.
You've lost Miller, right? Miller's going to be brewed at City Beng by the other.
Yeah, so the Miller will be going, and my understanding is that that contract, in terms of us manufacturing, will terminate at the end of the year.
All right, but you're keeping Black Label, which is
that's our own brand. Yeah, Black Label, Castle.
You're still keeping the classic South African brands.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing Lion on the shelves again.
Absolutely.
It keeps sort of coming back, trying to make a comeback.
Yeah. No, we've reintroduced Lion again. So Lion has a place. You know, there's
is it the same beer?
It's a slightly different recipe. To what we had historically, but I mean, of course, the brand has good resonance.
But you're not mucking about with the silver and blue labels again and trying to premiumize it. It becomes
not at this point in time.
It's a workman's beer.
Absolutely,
it remains a workman's beer. In terms of beer consumption in the South African market, how much are we drinking per head per year? Because it's in the tens of liters.
Yes, the per capita consumption in South Africa is about 57.
And how does that compare to big beer drinking countries, Czech Republic, the Germans,
much
for
smaller,
example?
yeah.
I mean, they're drinking
the Czech
250 or 300 liters?
Absolutely, it's in the hundreds. So South Africa, the consumption is fairly, probably comparable to Latin America, much smaller than in Europe and much smaller than in North America, but a lot higher than in the rest of Africa. The consumption in the rest of Africa per capita of the formal beer is much, much lower, probably closer to 8 to 9.
How do you grow a category in a market where you're so restricted in terms of advertising?
We just provide very, very good products and various options to our
So it's about
consumers.
distribution?
It's about distribution, it's about choice for the consumer. And they just love our brands. So I think they are, And
what about changing formats? I mean, we're familiar in South Africa with the sort of single-serving format of a 340ml can or 340ml bottle of beer. One stage with the 375ml bottles. I think those are gone, if memory serves. They're the 750ml quarts. One goes into places like Eastern Europe, and you look at in-home consumption of beer there. It comes in the 2-litre PET bottles. And Graham Mackay was always very big, and forgive me for keep quoting the Graham Mackay, but he was always very big, and people will consume different beer at home to what they will consume out in public. So you might have a PET at home, walk down to your local tavern or your pub, and then be seen to be drinking a Stella and holding the label out like SAB people are trained to do, so that everybody can see that you are a sophisticated, well-heeled individual. I mean, are we going that way at all in this market?
So we have absolutely no plans to introduce PET.
Why not? Is there not a market?
The issue is, firstly, just the quality of the PET beer. The shelf life is more limited than what you get out of glass, and we just have no plans at this point in time to introduce that.
But you still do it with Ursus and other brands in Eastern Europe. But why does it work there and not here?
To be honest, I think that is a direction that the market went in.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily sure that is where the business wanted the market to go. So it is not our intention at this stage, but we are providing a lot of opportunities. We have the 750, we have the 660 returnable, and we have a lot of different formats in the one-way packaging. One-way glass. We have cans. We've recently increased the can.
How much pressure are you under in terms of environmental issues, especially because so much of what you produce your drinks in, whether it be through cool drinks through the Coca-Cola alliances, or whether it be through beers and ciders, must be huge growing pressure in terms of the huge wastage that happens in terms of the throwaway culture.
So firstly, in SAB, in South Africa, about more than 85% of our beer is in returnable glass.
Because most people consume
that's correct.
in taverns the 750 mils
That's
because
correct.
there is a deposit that comes back on the bottle.
So more than 85% is in returnable glass, and then obviously where we do have one-way packs, be it glass or cans, we have active recycling programs. But you know, it is a huge focus of the business, this whole issue of reducing our impact on the environment. So we have massive initiatives around water reduction, energy reduction, increasing recycling.
What's your plan in Cape Town? You've got, you've still got a big brewery in Newlands.
We do.
And I just had a chat with Clem Santa, who says Cape Town's going to run out of water by March.
Yes.
And the dams in the Western Cape are sitting at 25%.
Yeah.
I mean, you're big on water.
Absolutely.
I mean, if there are experts on water in the world, it's in the brewing industry around the globe.
That's
because
correct,
there's a purity that's critical there. Are you panicking?
No, not at all. So the reality is that it isn't in Newlands. The water source is from the Newlands Spring, which comes from the mountain. So there's
when it doesn't rain, the mountain spring eventually dries up too, doesn't it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, there's the flow out of the spring is very good. So we have no risk from a water perspective at Newlands Brewery. But to be honest, we have had some pressure at our maltings plant in Caledon, where the dam levels are quite low.
Critical, yes.
Absolutely. So we have had to import a small quantity of malt, more as a contingency plan until those levels are sustainable. But we put a lot of effort into reducing the water consumption to reduce our impact on the environment.
I mean, so it's good news for the people of the Western Cape.
Absolutely.
So once the dams run dry and they've run out of wine,
and Newlands will be producing.
They can still drink beer. You can brush your teeth with Stella Artois and have a fragrant breath. Well, my thanks to you for coming in. Really interesting.
Brilliant.
There's SAB Investment, SAB and AB InBev, of course, in Africa, investing 2.8 billion rand in this market. 2 new developments at Roslyn, and of course a big brewery in Johannesburg as well. The Vice President for Supply, Trevor Sanderson, taking us through some of the machinations, of course, involved in the production of beer. And hopefully this is the first of many such investments in our country. We need them. From us now, for this evening, go and have a beer and then go to bed. Good night.